morning. Let's call court to order. Today is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Friday, February 25th, 2022 at 3:10 p.m.
Thank you. And if anyone has a public comment, they can come forward now from the audience. Yes, sir.
My name is Shannon Caraway. I'm Vice President for Business Development for a company called Solar Prime. Currently, we're trying to develop another 300 megawatt solar farm and 300 megawatt battery energy storage project here in McLennan County. And it's out north of Trading House Creek Reservoir, that area there. We're preparing to submit a proposal to this body soon for a county tax abatement for the project, and just wanted to stop by ahead of time, introduce ourselves, and tell you what we're doing.
Going to D on proclamations, resolutions. We have nothing this week. Under E, under consent agenda, I have no recommended pulls. Does anyone else have a pull from the consent agenda they want to discuss? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, Dustin.
Yes, sir. Judge, if we could go to item N1, this is discussion and or action on matters regarding COVID-19.
These case numbers have decreased for the hospitals.
All right, Judge, do you want to accept that for recording purposes?
Yes. Is there a motion to accept that report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
All right, if we could go to item N10, presentation from Texas State Technical College regarding Central Texas Industrial Training Center.
There's a mismatch between the number of jobs that are available and the number of people that are available to fill those positions.
Move to accept for recording purposes. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, if we could go to item N6, that's the Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce Monthly Economic Development Report for January 2022.
Know that we have had one project announcement for this first quarter, and that was in McGregor with Messer.
All right, if there's no questions, is there a motion to approve the chamber report for recording purposes?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass.
All right, we can go back up to item F, budget and budget amendments. F1's regarding the FY22 budget. Francis?
FY22 budget amendments, starting with F1A.
Is there a motion to approve F1D through F1I?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Under item G, bids, RFPs, RFQs. G1 is authorization of recommendations. G1A regarding bid 22-004, aggregate surface treatment for delivery and pickup.
All right, what's the pleasure on items G1A?
Motion to approve the purchasing director's recommendations on the bids.
Second. We have a motion second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Recording in progress.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Let's call court to order. Today is Tuesday, November the 29th, 2022. It's 9 a.m. Proof of posting, please.
The agenda was posted on Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022 at 12:30 p.m.
Thank you. All right, at this moment, let's pause for a moment of silence, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee.
Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, thank you. All right, under item C, under public comments, or has anyone called in for any public comments? Okay, and I don't see anyone from the public in the audience today. Under D, under human resources and salary matters, Dustin, in fact, I think what I want to do is take it in the priority that we discussed earlier, or in the order that we discussed earlier in regards to the agenda.
Yes, sir. So if we could hold D1 until later in the agenda, and then we've just got a few action items. We could take care of those really quickly, then jump into the department head reports if that's okay.
Yeah.
D2 is an HR matter for specialty court. Anna?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So this item here is related to the grant that was awarded to the mental health court on October 21st of this year. The grant that was awarded outlines the funding for a full-time case manager position. This is really just a housekeeping item establishing the position with the description, title, classification that's appropriate for its duties. And so we are requesting that the position be established in the B8 pay grade with the official title of case manager, with the salary set at $50,522. This would be in line with the existing case manager positions of the specialty court department. And we're doing this so that we can properly post and recruit for the position.
Okay, any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the court?
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Right, under item E, budget and budget amendments. E1 is regarding the FY22 budget. E1A is Community Supervision and Corrections Department recording of FY22 Statement of Financial Position. I don't know if Chip is in the courtroom.
He is not in the courtroom, no.
And Judge, if not, this is just a requirement of the state that this be recorded by the Commissioner's Court before it is submitted onto the state.
Okay. And it's got, in your agenda, on your agenda is the statement of total assets and liabilities, fund balance, which is $1,116,175.20.
Yes.
And also it has a total fund balance and liabilities. Are there any questions anyone would have? If not, is there a motion to approve this for recording purposes?
Motion. Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, pass.
E2 is regarding the FY23 budget. E2A is Road and Bridge Precinct 4. Francis?
Yes, just one budget amendment today for fiscal year 23. This is in the general fund for Road and Bridge Precinct 4. They're requesting to move from their contingencies into capital outlay in an amount of $3,500. And this is just due to a price increase on a vehicle that had been ordered.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, we'll hold those items under F for the ARPA discussion until later. Moving down to item H, additional items for discussion and action. H1 is regarding the Local Provider Participation Fund, authorization of intergovernmental transfers of funds derived from the County Healthcare Provider Participation Fund. Heather? Oh, Heather, you are on mute. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Good morning. I'll try this all over again.
Okay.
This is for an IGT request for the RAPS program for program year 2. The final IGT amount is $796,253.72, but we're requesting to be able to IGT up to the balance in the LPPF on the settlement date of Wednesday, November 30th.
Okay, any questions anyone have?
Move to approve.
All right.
Second.
Have a motion and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
H2, authorization of addendum to state plan of operation agreement with the state of Texas. This is for the 1033 surplus property program. Judge, this needs to be deferred.
All right, is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second? Have a motion and second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
H3 is approval of order for acceptance of monetary donations. Francis, did you want to cover this? And Judge,
You still on? Evidently not.
and Judge, if not, I can. So these are donations that have been collected for the Christmas event. They're being placed in a separate line item where those funds and expenses will all be monitored. There'll be no intermingling of any county funds. And so just to be very clear that no public funds would be spent on this event.
Okay, all right. So what action do we need? Just a motion to,
Motion to approve that order.
okay.
I have one question.
All right.
Dustin, this lists specific contributors. If somebody after this date contributes, will we have to come back and do this again?
Yes, sir, we would.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Move to approve, or move to approve the order of the Commissioners Court in regard to monetary donations.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
All right, we can move on to item G, the department head reports. G1 is juvenile probation monthly activity reports. I'd like to call on Colin Coker.
Okay, I don't think, he is signed on, I see that.
Can y'all hear me? I'm trying to start my video. It's not
Okay.
letting me.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's not letting me start my video. Oh,
Okay.
there we go. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Hope
morning.
everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
So for August, September, and October, as far as departmental kind of stats go, we had a total of 136 referrals. We had a total of 144 juveniles on probation during that 3-month period. 47 during that period, we had a total of 47 on deferred prosecution and 158 on conditions of temporary release. For detention, we started out August with 20 juveniles in detention, and during that time frame, we placed or had placed with us an additional 121 for that period of time. We released 111 during that 3-month period of time. It gives us an average daily population of 25 and an average length of stay of 18 days. We averaged during that length of time 25 juveniles that were on some form of psychotropic medications. We currently have 6 juveniles that have been committed to TJJD in our detention facility that are pending admission into TJJD. Statewide, there's 111 on the waiting list to be admitted into TJJD. Statewide, there has been a continuing an increase in violent felonies statewide, and we're continuing to monitor that here in McLennan County as well. And that was it in a nutshell. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that the commissioners or the court may have.
Are you seeing anything unusual or different from what you normally see?
So far this fiscal year, our numbers have gone back to a little more what they were normal. Now, last fiscal year, we saw spikes along the state trend as far as violent felonies go, gang-related felonies, weapons, offenses. I mean, all those are up across the state, and we were tracking pretty similar numbers with what the statewide numbers were.
Okay. How many open positions do you have?
As far as JSOs, we have seen a slight decrease. I think, as you know, Judge Felton, we had about 20 JSO positions open. We're down to, I believe, last count was 14, and we've got some additional interviews coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's anything we can help you with, let us know.
I really appreciate that. As y'all know, we're going to be going into a legislative session. I'm predicting that there's going to be bills passed to raise the age and some others specific to juvenile justice that we'll definitely be staying on top of and talking to the legislatures to kind of give what the impact is going to be here in McLennan County.
Okay, thank you. And keep us informed on that if
Yes,
you
sir.
would.
I sure will.
Anything we can do to help.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Miller had a question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On your breakout of juveniles released from detention days, when you have a number like for October, 319, is that cumulative or is that one person?
I'm sorry. You were breaking up a little. I didn't hear the entire question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
On your on your report, breakout of juveniles released from detention days, your longest length of stay is recorded in October at 319. Is that cumulative, several people, or is that one person's stay?
I would have to look and see what exactly that you're referring to. Usually it's all cumulative. So the way that the software calculates that is, if you have 20 kids that are detained within the month of October, it takes all of those days that they're detained and then divides that to come up with the cumulative. So it's not going to track like the longest unique individuals. That would be a separate formula. We for sure haven't had any juveniles back there coming in at that length of time. We've had some back there that's been back there for a while, but not to the 300s.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It does. I was going to try to tax your memory. Do you know what your longest length of stay has been for an individual?
Well, not in this county, but I've seen a kid detained for over a year.
Okay. What would hold them that long? In our
Numerous
facility?
Numerous things. Nothing that, there's specific things that go on with the kid, with the juvenile as regarding the court process, which, is really not in our purview. That's on the court side.
Okay, so if I'm looking at 319 days for the month of October, what on this in your report shows me how many juveniles went into contributing to this number? I'm trying to find out how long we are holding individuals there and as recent as your quarterly reports. I'm trying to just find out what has been our longest length of stay during this report period for you.
Okay. I see what you're getting. Yeah, that report's not going to show it. If you want to give me the time frames or the
I'm just your
information. that
quarterly
you want.
report. I'm just trying to decipher your quarterly report.
Right. No, it's not going to be in there. It's cumulative. So it's not going to go in to a unique individual and show which one's been there the longest day. It averages everything out. So what you're looking at is the average length of stay of 18 days. Are there going to be some kids that were back there longer? Yes, but it's not going to be shown on that report because that report aggregates all those numbers from everybody and comes up with averages. So if you would like me to go back and individually look and see individual lengths of stay for kids and see which one's back there the longest, I'm more than happy to do that for you.
Okay, and I guess, because I don't want to put a whole lot on you, but what I would like to see is based on the quarterly report, your time period that you're specifying, and you can do this moving forward. I would just like to see the number of juveniles that we have held. I guess that would be November, December, and January. And then based on that population, the longest number of stay, and it doesn't have to be for I don't want to know how long everybody stayed. I'm trying to, and I thought this is what this was showing me. I'm trying to find out, because you have our shortest length of stay as one day. So I'm thinking that's one person. So I'm trying to find out what is our shortest length of stay, and then what is our longest length of stay. I don't want a cumulative total of everybody there and then an average, but what is the longest length of stay for any given individual, for that individual with the maximum number during your period? Is that kind of clear what I'm trying to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I thought that's what this was telling me.
No, it's
Okay.
not. It all aggregates and averages it.
Okay, thank you.
Colin, is the state accepting juveniles yet, or you're still holding them?
There's a 3 to 4 month wait period before they get admitted into TJJD.
Okay.
So Commissioner Miller, I'm sorry, to answer your question, we have about 5 kids back there during this period of time that have been back there the entire 3 months.
Okay, what is that, 90 days?
Yes, ma'am.
90 days.
Any other questions? All right. If there's no other questions, is there a motion to approve this report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass.
G2
Thank you,
is
Your Honor.
engineering.
Yes. All right.
Sorry, G2 engineering. Zane?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. You have before you my quarterly report for the engineering department. We had a little over 33,000 in receipts and sales of culverts, floodplains, subdivision reviews, and map sales. That's about standard for a quarter's worth of time. And in 2023, which is not too far away, early 2023, you'll start to see plans coming through the court for approval purposes. That has to do with roadways, bridges, and low water crossings. And as far as the staff here and engineering, as you are aware, we had one engineer retire, and but the rest of my staff has really stepped up to help pull some of the weight that he was doing. And so we are able to go forward and have not received one applicant yet, but we're still hopeful that we'll get an applicant soon. And lastly, we had a very successful summer internship, had a environmental science senior who was attending Baylor. She's in her last year. She'll graduate in December, and due to the internship, she has decided to continue pursuing environmental science, but focus in on GIS, Geographical Information Systems. And she's already submitted resumes for applications for civil engineering consulting firms to try to get one of those types of jobs. So I think that was very successful, and I think the county should continue offering summer internships. I'll be willing to answer any questions you may have.
Well, and thanks for giving us information on how the intern program's working for you. And then, of course, we may not have a particular opening for that particular type of deal, but we would like to keep those folks, we'd like to employ them in McLennan County somewhere if we could. So, and I know you've helped her with recommendations and those things probably. So, but if there's anything we can do to help her out, let us know.
Okay.
So, and I'm assuming you'd be looking for another intern next year, or you have a budget for that?
If the county would be willing to sponsor another intern, I'd be willing to have one. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Are there other questions? All right. If not, is there a motion to approve the report, engineering report for recording purposes?
So moved.
All right. Do we have a second? I'll second. Any other discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
G3 is maintenance of equipment. I'd like to call on Michael Graham.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing well. This month, this report will cover the months of October, August through October of 2022. On the radio shop side of the house, I had 21 work orders come through the jail facilities, 25 work orders for radio repairs, radio tower project, that kind of stuff. And then 15 work orders with installing equipment vehicles, repairing vehicle equipment through the different kind of departments. The sign shop has been staying pretty busy. In September, you see 183 signs there. Kind of want to explain that. Where that came from is we had some of the precincts order big sign orders there at the end of the budget year. And so we did our best to get all those cranked out that we could. And we're still working on some of those going forward. Ran into an issue with some of our sign supplies with back order products and that kind of stuff. We've gotten those in. That's back up and going again. So in vehicle maintenance in August, myself and Sean Nixon attended a police fleet conference down in Austin. And we're able to learn quite a few things about up and coming products, but also some current things going on, and learn that GM in particular, who most of our vehicles are from, they actually offer a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty on government purchased vehicles. So we've been able to take advantage of that since then, which has really helped out with some of our outside labor costs with transmission issues, engine issues, and whatnot. So we're very grateful for that knowledge. We had pretty good outside maintenance costs in September of $19,000. Part of that was due to vehicles were out of warranty and also some repairs for some crashes that happened. We're glad to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. And yeah, that's great to have that extended warranty, or the warranty that extends out that long with many miles as we put on. It's a risk mitigation move that I definitely support. On all the improvements that were done out there, how's everything working? All the facilities and equipment that you have?
Everything is good. We're very happy. We've got some stuff we're purchasing on this year's budget to improve our wash bay area where the trustees wash the county vehicles. Other than that, everything is going good. We're happy with the facility out here.
Good, good. All right, are there any questions for Michael? All right, is there a motion to approve his report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
G4 is County Veteran Service Office. I'd like to call on Steve Hernandez.
All right, he's present.
Good morning, everyone. I guess as you can see from our numbers, we continue to fulfill the state mandate of claims. So we put a big emphasis on anyone that comes in that needs a claim. We are getting a lot more referrals from the VA that we didn't anticipate. So we are taking on more claims. But I mean, also, we're working internally with Behavioral Health Network on some internal operations that are occurring right now that we're trying to get a better handle on. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of a standard report. The trends are no longer, well, there's still some surviving spouse claims that are coming forward and making sure that headstones are applied for, as well as any burial benefits, and as well as any other surviving spouse benefits. So that's, but the other trend is, I'm not sure if it's the economy or if it's the mental conditions of veterans, or if it's just the time of year. But we're getting a little bit of a higher percentage of veterans with a potential propensity for violence. And so we're kind of monitoring those a little bit closer. Like I said, we always get sprinkles and we always kind of can maintain those, but for some reason we got a little bit more than a handful that now we're kind of, they don't know themselves, but we know them. So we're kind of monitoring that a little bit closer.
You reaching out to MHMR?
Yes, sir, without a doubt. Yes, sir. We're on ongoing discussions on how to be more proactive and not reactive. So, but yes, sir.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. All right. Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to the issue with veterans of like homelessness,
Yes, ma'am.
Substance, drug, alcohol issues, and maybe suicide prevention, do you all have any type of collaborative initiatives?
Yes, ma'am.
In any of those areas?
Yes, we do work with some of the local nonprofits that are intake for drug abuse. We also get referrals sometimes through the Veterans Treatment Court, and I say sometimes, our office, as far as the ongoing operations. I think Behavioral Health Network gets those more than we do. But we also, because of our trust relationship with some of the veterans, they do come and want to see us. Same as homelessness. I do see a pattern also of transients that are not necessarily from this state or from this county that end up here with a situation at hand where they may not have any money, or they may be in a position where they have used their money and now they're depending on us to kind of help them get through the time period that they will eventually get their check. And so we kind of help them through that. So it's one of those deals where we really can't place them because we don't know if they're going to stay. And so, but at the same time, they are homeless and they are here and they are on our streets and in our community. So we work with the VA also with that to see how the homeless coordinator can maybe identify those and maybe get them in a group home for temporary purpose, or maybe possibly get them a hotel. But just try to get them off the street, get them to My Brother's Keeper or Salvation Army, any of the other homeless shelters. But yes, ma'am, we're pretty proactive on that. But to keep a number on that, we usually don't, because it's usually more of a behavioral health network operation. They go through the case management there, and then from there we kind of help facilitate some of that and advocate, but we don't necessarily take it on firsthand. The Veterans One Stop does, but we're just a kind of a component there that helps facilitate that.
I could see how that could take up a lot of time. So
Yes.
how, and I was looking through your report, I did notice your quarterly time frame too, I noticed that. But,
my assistant, excuse me for interrupting, but my assistant is real quick about once the request is made, he wants to send it in to get it in as soon as possible.
so I see your different areas.
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
all do track the numbers for.
Yes.
I see those. Considering that that does take up a lot of time, those three areas, and that those are kind of on the forefront of veterans' issues and advocacy, is there a way, and I understand that's not an umbrella or that's not a service that's under your umbrella, I understand that. But I do know the traffic that comes through your office, and given that these are issues that the veterans community is really highlighting, how can you infuse that kind of data in here so that we can get an idea of exactly how we are impacting those
Sure.
serious areas?
Yes, ma'am. I can get with Behavioral Health Network, the case manager, or even the director, and see how they, because they do a lot of grants. They're funded solely on those numbers. And so I can see where we also participate with those, but we don't get the actual number down on our end.
Right.
They get it because they're the ones that are capturing and following through to make sure that the grant is met, the due diligence on the grant is met. So for us, we do advocate, we do have contacts at the VA, we do have contacts at the local nonprofits, as well as the hospitals. So we do help facilitate in making sure that they are stabilized to the best that we can. And you're absolutely right. You can have a homeless veteran, and you can spend the whole day trying to get them stabilized, and at the end of the day, you still hadn't done it. And because they either don't have any ID, or they don't have credentials to make sure that they're actual veterans that are eligible for federal benefits, or they do have bad paper, bad conduct discharge. So there are some areas there, or they just recently were discharged from being in prison.
Right.
So we do have some challenges there, and it's on a regular basis, and you're right, it's not noted here. The emphasis that I usually place here is the mandate of what the state is asking for, and that's claims. And so that's really what I do there, but if you want, we can start incorporating that, because we do have a lot of community issues that we also deal with on a daily basis. And it's a balancing act, because the mandate is for claims, but at the same time, because we're paid by the local taxpayer, we want to ensure to show the taxpayer as well as the court that we are working in our community to help with veteran issues. So it really has been a balancing act. It's been good, especially with the relationship that we have, because they have taken a brunt of that. But we do have veterans that gravitate to our office and that feel more comfortable with discussing things with us. And so we do help with that as well. So, but yes, ma'am.
Are there other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the Veteran Service Office report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Pass. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right.
G5 is purchasing. I'd like to call on Ken.
Good morning.
Good morning.
From September through this month, we've processed approximately 1,770 purchase orders. In the bids RFPs, we've actually only released 2 in this last period. One was for hot and cold mix, but the other, which in my report I noted, is the RFQ for the construction manager at risk. We did make a recommendation to the court on the request for qualifications, and this was a 2-part solicitation. I did not think that we would have this ready to go this month, but I will tell you, Mike Dixon worked judiciously on this. And part of the reason I didn't think that we'd have it done is because I was out all last week at a conference. But we kind of worked through email messages and stuff, and I just want to proudly report that we released the RFP yesterday. And the RFP is out and will be due back on January 9th. And the reason we're given that length of time is, again, we got to avoid some of these holidays here where people are not going to be here and working. So we processed a lot of renewals for this last quarter. A lot of them come due at this time of year. The same is true on a lot of the contracts that we have working. We work through renewing those. Wanted to spend a minute talking about vehicles. I've got 3 wins to report, I think. We've had a pickup on order since 2021 for Precinct 4, and we got a phone call that there was one available. And the reason it was available is someone else had ordered it in that same time frame, and they did not rebudget the money to pay for it if it came in. And so it came to us. And and part of the reason I'm saying this, it's not exactly what we had ordered, but it was close enough. And I just want to say, as long as the court is willing to listen and make considerations, sometimes there are vehicles available out there. And this was a phone call out of the blue. We were not expecting it. And now we have a pickup, and the budget amendment difference went through court this morning. So.
Okay.
I know they're excited because they've been walking for about 6 months.
And we have, we have looked diligently at every avenue on how to make that happen. Also want to report, adult probation wanted a vehicle, and we got another phone call. Now, they didn't actually have a vehicle set, but we got a phone call that one of our dealerships had some Traverses, Chevy Traverses on hand that they would sell us if we wanted. And they considered, and it can have the cages put in for transport. And so we issued an order for a Traverse yesterday. Got a phone call from Juvenile. They did not budget for a vehicle, but we got a phone call and they were wanting one, and they were wanting one around May. Well, we first told them that that was not going to happen. There's no way we would have needed to order September 1st. We have windows now. And so if you don't get it in that window, it's not going to happen. But even if we'd ordered it in September, it'd probably been September before we received the vehicle that they were wanting. So we had a lot of extensive conversation, and he decided he would just budget for the vehicle next year. In some of these same conversations, we get another phone call, and one of our dealerships had what amounted, it was a police unit or a law enforcement unit. It's based on the Explorer, but it's specialty built. It's got all the connections for lights and all that. It doesn't have the lights, but it has the connections. And so he's now considering and going to the board and going to ask for the money to see about buying one of these units. And they're on the ground. And so we're going to be able to do that. Like I say, it's based on the Ford Explorer. But as long as we're flexible and willing to make considerations and work with Francis for the money, just want to share. Sometimes there are stuff out there that we can lay hands on, but I think the key is flexibility and maybe accepting stuff either before you were ready for it. But I just wanted to share that piece of information.
Thank you. We're as flexible as the budget allows us to be.
Exactly.
As imposed by the court on itself. So,
I have a sad thing to report. I continue to check on the transfer switch we need for the tower at Road and Bridge 4. We were supposed to be getting it in November. And my following up on it, I'm finding out we're not going to get it until January. And I have talked to other people trying to find another avenue to do this, but I actually talked to someone else that deals with the Generac generators and said, we're in the same boat. Yeah, so it's just a wait until we can lay our hands on it. We did, Cinnamon and I did, as I referenced, attended a purchasing conference last week, and a lot of good information, new stuff, and I was able to get hold of some information that I needed for some of our projects, and so I was really happy. Part of the deal on this RFP for the remodeling of the jail is we were working on the terms and conditions that we need, federal terms and conditions to use ARPA money if there's a possibility. We can't use it directly on a construction manager at risk, but there may be some pieces that we can carve off, like the air and heating, that we might be able to use some of the ARPA money on. A little bit, we need to get further into it before we have that discussion, but we'll have pieces in place. Also too, because we went through the end of the year, we had to spend a large amount of time cleaning up the purchase orders from last year. We'll be releasing be working on the bids for road materials this month and next month. Then we have a project at Highway 6 Jail. We're changing out the controls on some sliding doors. As Zane mentioned, I think he's got the bid documents and he's reviewing for the Panther Branch Bridge replacement. And so we expect to be working on that shortly, on that bid. So that's about the size of my report. If you've got any questions.
All right, any questions? All right, he's got to rush on back up north and get his sleigh filled up. Head back this way pretty soon.
Been working on putting stuff together.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, if there's no other questions, is there a motion to approve Ken's report for recording purposes?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Those pass. Thank you.
G6 is maintenance of buildings. Like to call on TJ.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Morning. Yes, sir.
All right. So before you, we have our typical quarterly report. Everything is looking pretty good. Work order numbers are holding fairly strong comparative to the rest of the quarters over the past year. We do have a couple of open positions that we're working with Honest Group to fill here, hopefully in the near future. So things are looking up with those. A couple of projects on the horizon. We really want to start our strong discussions on the ARPA HVAC Replacement and Energy Reduction Act projects on all of our campuses. So that'll be a big one that we're going to focus on here in the near future. We have the Highway 6 roof replacement. We did get some budget numbers put together for it. Things are still looking pretty competitive as far as roofing products go. So I think that's probably one that we're going to want to see put out on the market probably around late spring. That way we can get it done over the summertime. Most of you can recall that's about our last big roofing project that we have on the list to take care of. Other than that, it's just kind of business as usual. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for TJ? Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve TJ's report for recording purposes?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Pass.
All right, G7 is pretrial services, and I don't know if Judge Bain is in court or not.
He won't be joining us. He said he had 20.
Pardon me?
He had 20 magistrations. this
Okay.
morning, So he's not gonna be able to join us.
He said his report's complete, though.
Yeah. All right, your report's in your package. If you have any questions, please bring them forward. Otherwise, is there a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
G8, health services. I'd like to call on Heather.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you all?
Fine, thank you.
Well, we're just rocking right along at Health Services, busier than ever. I'm kind of going to skip around a little bit here. If you'll take a look at that first bar chart in my report, I do some annual comparisons, and we are starting out the first quarter with more active clients than we've had since 2018. The last time the program saw numbers like this was the fourth quarter of 2018 at 359 active. And so we are definitely seeing an increase in applicants. I think that part of that is just people are out doing things again like normal, paying attention to preventative care. That's a big push in our community, is just preventative care. We're also working with our shelters and other partners. Our focus for health services this year is going to be on preventative care. So just wanted to draw some attention to that. Also, in thinking about the budget side of it, HHSC did release notification that there's going to be an increase to reimbursement rates. That's going to impact the program closer to the end of the fiscal year. They're going to roll out the first part of that with skilled nursing care, followed by prescription costs at the end of March. So I think it'll kind of, start impacting the program closer to the end of the fiscal year. Let's see. I don't know if you recall my participation in the Prosper Waco Health Initiative's Access to Healthcare Working Group. Well, as a product of that work and working with the Collaboration for Healthy Communities, the Episcopal Health Program that we participated in, Prosper Waco is being granted $10,000 for that program to work on initiatives within the community. So that should start sometime in the next couple of months as well. They're going to use it on some intern stipends to just collect information from the community with listening sessions, surveys, things like that, to find out what the health needs are in some of our more vulnerable, communities.
What was the source of the grant?
It was through the Episcopal Health Foundation.
Okay.
We did a MART ISD site visit this quarter, and through that, we decided that they seem to have some needs in their community with just obtaining other resources, not just county indigent healthcare, but possibly applications with food stamps, Medicaid for the kids. There's just not a resource out there to help them with any type of outreach efforts. Transportation's an issue to get to town to fill out things. Sometimes it's just the barrier of simply completing the applications. So we went out and did an on-site visit. 2 of our case managers went, and we did not have the turnout we were anticipating. So they're going to continue to advertise that, and we're going to go out for the next couple of months, maybe once a month, just to see how we can be supportive to their community out there. I think the Rucker Clinic, which is a small clinic that's out there, is about to go through some changes as well. I think it's been managed by the Falls County Hospital, and I think there might be some changes going on with that in the near future. And so I've let them know that we definitely want to be a part of that any way that we can to stay involved, because that is a clinic that does accept our county indigent healthcare program, and it's a great resource to those folks out there that can't get to
So who
town.
will be managing it?
Well, I don't know for sure, but there's been conversation about the hospital out of Groesbeck. So,
That can't be done out of some entity out of McLean County?
I honestly don't know if McLennan County's shown an interest or even knows about it. I just happened to catch wind of it with my meeting with the superintendent at March. He mentioned it.
Betsy, yeah.
And so that might be something to look into to see if, I don't know if Waco Family Medicine wants to expand
That's what I
to
was
that
thinking.
area.
It's probably gonna end up being ongoing conversations. I know Superintendent Burnett, it was back in September, she mentioned, would there be a way to have, kind of like a one-stop shop under one roof where you could, apply for SNAP and CHIP, and the indigent program that we have, but to put, where people could apply for social services under one roof. And so I want to thank Heather for connecting with her and kickstarting that off. She's trying to fill in the gaps of social services that are missing out there. And so it seems like we're going to have, it's the beginning of ongoing conversations. How can we tie up some loose ends and provide those services out there? So perhaps a conversation with Waco Family Medicine. I'm just not sure where we have to see exactly what they're thinking, what Grosbeck is thinking, and then how can we come in and kind of undergird them. But I know she reached out in September, and I think Heather jumped on that in September, as far as getting people out there to start that process, because they had talked about at the community center, maybe setting up an office and kind of having that benefit or that service kind of out there on an ongoing basis. But you're right, we're probably gonna have to schedule it because it is so sporadic and the population and trend, the people are not coming through, the traffic's not coming through like we need it. So how do we maybe perhaps put it on a calendar or schedule it so that people know when we're gonna be there and then they can come? But it's
And
in
that's
the
what
really
we're
initial
doing.
stages.
Did we schedule the next date already, Marissa? Not that I'm aware of. That's what our goal was, to have kind of a standing appointment where we went the same day of the month, every month on that day, and so that it could be advertised in advance and the community became more aware of what was being offered. We talked about having once we were able to really assess what the needs were, having a small health fair with those particular entities that, were on site. At one time, I know there was conversation with using that old administrative building that was out there, the old school administrative building. The record clinic was supposed to move into that building, and then they would have been able to expand. I know part of the goal with the change is having specialty care available out there as well. So having, specialists come out to the MART area, not just, a practitioner. So I think they're in a place right now where there's lots of conversation about what they need. Betsy, she's in the position where she's working with families every day, and so she's hearing the needs. But then when we're offering, people aren't showing up, so there's just some, it's not congruent there. So I think it's going to take some educating the community on what services that we can assist them with, and then getting them to follow through with, showing up.
I think it's going to take communication and marketing, because I know she also wanted to pull in the public health district and kind of infuse immunizations and some of the services that they do. I want to compliment you and your team for stepping out and helping her. I think it's going to be utilized more fully as we do get the community to understand that we are coming out there. I think they were so used to us not being there, the fact that we are coming and providing it. They just have to get used to us, and we just have to do some communication and marketing. But it is in the real initial stages, and we'll kind of keep you up on how that's
because if
coming.
that model works there, then outlying communities like Moody and others could benefit as well, so.
I agree.
Is there public transportation provided back from Waco?
Yes.
To those outlying areas?
Benton County Rural Transportation covers that area.
It does go to that area, so they could come back in here for services if we could
Yes, sir.
coordinate it and get everything.
And we have a bus pass program, and we still have some bus passes that were purchased two physical years ago. And so we did allocate some to the discretion of Betsy Barnett, the superintendent, that she could
Right.
use, you know, in the event that there were folks that needed to get to town for whatever reason. We also offer those to our record clinic clients that we know.
How is that working out? Is it just people not aware of it, or are they taking advantage of it?
Definitely not taking advantage of it. They're ambivalent about using the transportation system. And so, you know, I haven't been able to put my finger on it. Is it because, you know, they've never done it before, so they don't know how to do it, or?
Yeah.
It's probably various reasons why. I like what you all are doing, because I think a lot of our, like you were mentioning, this could perhaps be a pilot program for other smaller communities. I don't like what's happening to the rural communities where we make them come into the city for all their services. I mean, they've lost their ambulance service, they've lost their hospitals. You know, we always want to pack them down the road. If we can, because I know we have to be frugal, but if we can come into their communities and provide them those services, I just think it's something that the rural communities do deserve.
Well, in the meantime, the best thing we can do is to be sure they're aware and comfortable with using public transportation. Because, you know, yeah, ideally it would be good to have something right in their community, but until we figure out how to do that, they need to come into where the services are provided. And if we, you know, if transportation is an issue, we do have an alternative. It's, you know, there's vouchers, but also even if you didn't have a voucher, it's $3 a trip. And,
We'll make sure Betsy has, and all of our smaller communities have the information on the services we currently provide. Because I know she does try to push that out through all of, you know, to her parents. So you're right, we just need to make sure that they understand all the tools they currently have available.
And that could be part of, you know, it can be incorporated into a quote, health fair. Is somebody there to talk about the rural transportation and how you use it, and, you know, what it looks like and what you can expect. And because I think it's a great resource, but I think sometimes we do underestimate, you know, the complexity of learning how to do something different that you've never done before. And so I think simply having somebody maybe on site that can talk about it. That's why our department, you know, went and rode the Waco Transit one day. So that way, when we're talking to clients about it, you know, they can actually say, well, when I did it, this is what I did, and this is where I went, and this is what it looked like. And so I think just having somebody that can talk to them and answer questions will, you know, encourage them to try it. I agree, though. There's so many resources in town that no matter how hard we try, we're probably not ever going to get in our little community. So getting them comfortable with that concept will just benefit them in so many other ways. And so, yeah.
Where'd y'all go on your field trip?
I'll let them tell you where they go. I'm
Did y'all
going to
use
introduce them in
the-
a minute. You can ask them where they went on their field trips. They had a
Did they-
grand time. I'm sure they represented our county well that day.
Did they use the on-demand rule system, or did they just use the regular Waco Transit?
Just regular Waco Transit.
Because the rural transit system is a on-demand service where people can make a reservation and you know,
You call in.
and it's round, you know, you can schedule your round trip. So it's a little different than Waco Transit.
Well, and two, Commissioner Jones, you know, with the on the demand, you can schedule a one-way trip, but if, for instance, they need to go to Waco and they need to go to the doctor and then they need to go and pick up a prescription and then go home, then they're having to utilize Waco Transit as well. So then multiple stops and connections and things occur. So it can be a little tricky to learn.
Right.
So, okay, let's see what else we have here. Our homeless memorial event is coming up. I'll let Carrie say a little bit about that when she is introduced. This year, it's going to be on Wednesday, December 21st at the Hangar, and I can send out information about that if anyone's interested in attending. This will be our third year to host this memorial. Let's see.
I hear really good things about that event.
Yeah.
Don't y'all let me miss it this year. Don't y'all let me miss it this year.
It is a really great thing that I think we do. And, you know, each year we also do some type of drive in honor of the folks that have passed. And so last year, no, it was the socks. And I mean, we collected thousands of pairs of socks. And this year it was undergarments, underwear, bras, you know, camis, things like that. And so I don't know off the top of my head how many items we collected. I'm sure Carrie does. She keeps up with that. But we've been able to donate quite a bit of that to homeless shelters in town. And then we took a portion of it and we wrapped it, and we're giving it out to applicants that come in throughout the month of December to the program. And so just a neat way to give back in honor of those that we've lost this year. And then, let's see, we have filled our eligibility specialist position. We offered the position to someone, she accepted, and she'll be starting, I believe, next Monday. So we're excited about that. And I think that is everything that I wanted to hit on. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions up to this point? If
I don't
not,
have any questions, but I do just appreciate Heather and your team because you guys are everywhere it seems we would need to be. You all are at health fairs, you're at events throughout the community, and I think that does contribute to your enrollment numbers. The more people know about a program, they may not need it, but they pass that word on to other people. So I just want to say how much I appreciate how hard you all work, especially for a population that really needs us to work hard on their behalf. So I just appreciate you.
Thank you.
But I knew you were going to be good. I knew you were going to be good.
We just have a lot of fun with it, and I think we have a great program. We have a great group of folks, and I'm excited about the new one that's coming on board, and so I think it's just gonna make us even better.
okay, all right, go ahead.
You ready for me to introduce my folks?
If you're ready.
Okay. Y'all come on up. So this will conclude our current staff, and then once our new lady comes on and gets a little comfortable, then I'll drag her in here one day.
Okay.
So you can meet her. First, I'm gonna start with Sherry Moore. She's our claims administrator, and Sherry's been here a long time. How long you been here, Sherry?
27 years.
Yeah, we go back.
Yes, we do. Yes, ma'am, we do. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. And we're so proud to have this one here for our leader. She's made a difference in McLennan County and in our department. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Sherry, you know, will be able to retire next year, but we're not gonna let her.
I do enjoy my work, so.
I hope you have better luck with that than I did.
Well, she's not saying she is, but she does mention every now and then how many months until she might. So,
Right. Well, you know, a girl's got a dream. You know.
now she can buy that Winnebago. She's gone.
I can take my laptop.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
That is true. And then we have Miss Carrie Davis. She's our office coordinator and manages all of our social media and all the pretty, colorful things that you see. And she has really taken her job and blossomed with it and done amazing work. I'm always giving her accolades on her social media that she does.
If y'all ever have any events that y'all need me to share on our social media, just send it to me. I'll get it on there. Or need me to create something for you to post, just let me know.
Thank you.
She enjoys doing that.
I love it.
stuff.
I love doing that.
She's our little geek.
Yeah. I am. And then I was going to talk about the memorial service that's coming up next month. We're doing it at the hangar this year, which is our first time to do it at a shelter. We've been doing it at churches previously, but we're wanting it for other homeless to be able to come and honor and remember the ones that they know, but they haven't been coming. So we're hoping by hosting it at the hangar this year that we'll have more attendees as far as that's concerned. And then we're going to have a little slideshow this year, which for the ones that we've lost, and we've got candles. Yeah. So we're going to try to make it a little bit more special this year. So if y'all can try to come, that would be great.
Every year we've been just kind of building on it. So.
Good, thank you.
Oh, how many years? I've been here 3 years.
And then we have Miss Marissa Coronado, and she is our lead eligibility specialist, and she's been here a long time too. 20 years?
20 years, 4 months, 11 days.
How many hours?
But who's counting? But who's counting, right?
She's another one.
I can retire in 2020.
She's not either. There's so much talk about retirement. Carrie and I live vicariously through them. But Marissa is our lead. She's been an eligibility specialist for years. Only appropriate that she then moved up into our lead role. She really manages both our county indigent and pauper programs, policy oversight, audits on our cases, support to the staff. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Also, I'm the case manager, so I assist clients outside of the indigent healthcare if they need to apply for food stamps, housing, any programs that are
Social Security.
available, schedule doctor's appointments. Some people just don't know how to navigate that system, so I'm able to intervene, with my clients or any clients in a program that come in. And some clients that don't qualify, I still assist in referring, giving information, applying for the services that they might need.
When we did the expanded case management, when we added that, that's what she took on. And so any case that we consider, special that needs additional help, they're then passed to her for that extra piece of assistance with applications. She's also SOAR certified, which in our world is a big deal. SOAR certification, it helps with the success of the Social Security application. So I don't remember what the statistics are, but there's a larger percentage of acceptance on Social Security applications with SOAR certified folks helping versus just a regular, caseworker assisting with the Social Security application process. So
That's it.
that's it. That's it.
That's great.
That's rock stars.
Yeah. Well, it's very nice for you to bring them in and reintroduce them to the court. We appreciate everything you do and that you have been doing for many years for some of you.
Thank you.
And that you will be doing for many years. Yeah, I think a good point that there is a difference between the department now and in the past, and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
no criticism about anything in the past. It's just that we're always moving up, and
Absolutely.
Heather's done a good
And
job.
we're in the right direction
That's
all
right.
the way.
Yeah.
So,
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
Heather, does that conclude your report?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, is there a motion to approve Heather's report for?
So moved.
audit purposes?
Second.
Have a motion second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passed. Thank y'all very much.
Thank y'all for coming. Good to see y'all.
Chair keeps going down.
You keep messing with that chair.
Well, it kept sinking.
Hey, Dustin?
All right, G9 is information technology. I'd like to call on Lisa.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
morning.
I would like to, I guess, my report is covering August through October. I may slip in some November-ish stuff. As you know, our IT support is a constant. This period has been very busy as usual. Things never seem to slow down. I've only selected a few points to note for this period. I wanted to start with the cybersecurity training. We got off to a great start this year. We had 23 departments at 100%. I noted them in my report there so you could see who those offices are. We had another 16 that were at 75% or greater, leaving only 9 at below 75%. So that's pretty exciting. We had 84% overall complete by the end of October. I also wanted to point out our virtual environment migration has been completed. That's another big project. We migrated about 60 servers over into our VxRail environment, which allowed us to start our Mitel phone network migration. We got that underway, not only to newer equipment, but also to build in redundancy. So there were a number of meetings, environmental preparations and such, and those final migrations will occur tonight. So we're very excited about that. Let's see. Also with that Mitel upgrade, the department has continued to poll the offices regarding the special licenses in the MyCollab system. We've gotten most of the feedback back from the departments. We lack a few, but we will continue to collect that information, and at some point in the future, when we're ready to roll that out, there will be a report back to the court on what those selections look like for your approval. Also, during this period, we still have 3 vacancies in our office. We did have 3 applicant interviews for our desktop positions. Unfortunately, those did not result in any hires. There were a couple of offers made, but they were not accepted. So we will continue to look to fill those positions. Our desktop procurement and deployments are well underway for FY23. This also includes the large order for the MDT refresh for our law enforcement. We've had continued progress for our courtroom upgrades, network maintenance and equipment installs there, and a number of technology assessments and related work regarding other building renovations and various department projects. And just a few of those would be our CSCD door system. They replaced that. We're assisting IHC with a system migration. NSO, we're looking at courthouse security cameras, getting some improvements there. An assessment for SO to replace their LogSoft product. We're looking at Guard1 with that assessment and doing testing for file interfaces. And the Metasys HVAC upgrade for maintenance of buildings, to name a few. In archives, the annual destruction was completed for FY22. They continue to make great progress on indexing and barcoding our files into the Infolink system. Claire gave me a total count. As of October 31st, they have 64,663 files entered into this system. And one of the mobile filing units has finally been relocated into the district clerk's storage area. So they were happy to recoup that space. Yeah. So they will be installing shelving and getting records moved into that area. I did want to point out one other thing. As you know, we were looking for a product to replace Infolinks. We had been advised that that product is going end of life and we needed to find a replacement. Archives and IT staff have looked at a number of products, and after all that review, it does appear that the Gimmel product, who is the current owner of Infolinks, does have the best product in our opinion, and the consensus was to recommend that. I also know you have been waiting on many of the recommendations until the new director comes in. So I just, if that is something you would like to continue to wait on on that, or if you would like me to bring that before court with Claire's recommendation, I can do that in December. I just was looking for some direction on that.
Okay, we will, let me visit with you about that, and then we'll probably at least have some discussion on it in December.
Okay. Okay. And then last, I just wanted to let the court know that I have been in process of having exit meetings with IT management and other staff regarding our outstanding projects, our IT initiatives, setting priorities on, things that we need to move to the front, things that should probably wait, and kind of preparing for the handoff to new leadership. And I also would like to take this moment to recognize my IT and archives teams. I truly appreciate all the dedication they have shown to me and in support of our county. And while I look forward to more time with my family and new interests, I also want to note that I will greatly miss working with these individuals and being part of the projects to come. It's always a joy to see the wheels turn and work through suggestions and options offered for our new implementation. So I just want to say I'm grateful for the opportunity to have served for IT director.
And Judge, if I could real quick, on behalf of our teams, we greatly appreciate everything Lisa has done for us over these years. And we're,
Absolutely.
that we wouldn't be in the position we're in now without her putting trust in us with the projects that we put before her and the belief that she had in us over these years. So, you know, we all have hold a great appreciation for Lisa because of that.
And Judge, it's Chiquinta, if you don't mind a couple of seconds. I agree with everything you just said, David. And Lisa, thank you for taking a chance on me as well. And, you know, putting us all in positions to expand our skill set and be able to work together and collaborate and explore new ideas and initiatives. And you gave us the freedom and partnered with us in a very great manner. And we just are so appreciative of the service that you've given to McLennan County and this office over the years. It's been wonderful working with you and for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaquinta. And David, well, I'd like to express how much we've appreciated Lisa, and we will be talking in December, but this is her last quarterly report, and so I think it is appropriate to make a few comments about that. But I'm going back to when Lisa stepped in that role and of IT director, and it was at a time where technology was changing rapidly, and staying out and staying up with it has been a challenge for anyone. And she's put together a great team of folks that are very dedicated to the county and want to see the best outcomes for the taxpayers of McLennan County. And you know, I can say personally, I've enjoyed working with you, Lisa, and
Thank you.
I've said this before, you're one of the nicest people that work for the county. So thank you very much for that and your leadership and loyalty to the county. We'll miss you, but we wish you the best. I know that you've got a family that's waiting to spend more time with you as well as you with them, and you know, just wishing you the very, very best.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything else to come for, any questions for Lisa or comments? All right, if not, is there a motion to approve Lisa's report for recording purposes?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Pass. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. You bet.
G10 is Human Resources. I'd like to call on Anna.
Hi again, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay. So I'll get into my report here, which it will probably seem a lot longer in your agenda than normal. First, if I can also express that I've really enjoyed working with Lisa in my time here. She's been a great partner and always open-minded and willing to hear HR out. So it's been really great to work with her and her time here. So I'll miss you too, Lisa. I'm gonna share that. So I've included in this HR activity report recent activity from August 16th to November 15th is what I'm reporting on. In addition, because this is the first report following the completion of a fiscal year, I went ahead and did annual summary and comparison as well. So that's why it probably seems a lot longer. Just some highlights of the recent activity or recent quarter that I reported on. I did want to note that I think there's been good headway in improving employee engagement this recent quarter through training offered through HR with the assistance of McLennan Community College. MCC helped us put on CPR training countywide, and we were able to have 196 employees go through that training and be CPR, first aid, and AED certified. So we were really excited about that participation. Also, the Employee Wellness and Lifestyle Expo had very high participation as well. That occurred at the end of October, and we had 645 employees attend that event. That's almost 60% of our workforce. So we were very excited about that, especially with the participation. We saw a lot more juvenile detention employees come in and jailers, which often because of their work schedule, it is difficult for them to attend these in-person events. And we saw a lot more of those employees come in. So we were excited about that attendance. In the expo, they were able to distribute 171 flu shots as well. And we're excited about that participation, and I'll explain why when I go over some of my annual figures. And then, let's see. Other recent quarter activity that we've helped with is coordination of the IT director position. Recruitment-wise as well, we were able, just an update on the engineering position in the engineering department. I know most of the department heads gave kind of an update on their vacancy. That one is one we are struggling with. We've not received applications. We did publish an advertisement through the American Society of Engineers, which pushes out mass email communication to registered members of that group. And then I'll be working next on trying to communicate through alumni groups and societies through LinkedIn. So I'll need a purchase a LinkedIn membership, recruitment membership to facilitate the ability to direct message members of LinkedIn that seem qualified for the position. So that'll be my next approach for that. As Heather said, health services position has been filled. I'm actively working with purchasing and maintenance of buildings to help them with their positions, yes.
Colleges, universities that have engineering degree, or engineering programs, have we reached, is there a blanket organization that gets information to them, or would that be something we would have to individually reach out to each of those?
So that's one of the reasons why I want to go through LinkedIn. They actually have the alumni network pages through LinkedIn that you can direct message as well. So that'll be my next.
So alumni being people who've already graduated versus
Right.
somebody who's getting ready to, let's say, graduate this spring, would they normally be already a
On
part of
LinkedIn.
that alumni linked?
Yes, well, there's also on LinkedIn, you can search for up-and-coming graduates
Okay.
as well through that. And they have like filter searches that will help target those individuals as well. So those are my recent quarter highlights, and then there's a few items I'll go through and highlight from my annual summary. So before I move on to that, sorry, for the recent quarter highlights, I just wanted to highlight some of the hard work that 8 specific HR employees made. CPR training was coordinated by Elodia Vega. She did a really good job of ensuring participation and reaching out to folks who had signed up on a wait list to be sure that as many slots were filled as possible. And then for the Wellness Expo, that was months of coordination work conducted by Stacy Vega, our benefits specialist, and Lindsay Johnson, our HR specialist. So just wanted to highlight them there. So for the fiscal year summary, the primary things I want to highlight here is recruitment is still a struggle. We are struggling to get applications just countywide for all positions. There is an improvement. Back in June, I provided the court projections for the expected number of applications received by the end of the year, and that was around 2,400 was the projection, and then the actuals received is 2,867. There is an improvement, but it's not as much as we're wanting to see compared to previous years where we have, say, 3,500 applications received for the year. So we are actively working on that. We have been posting on Facebook. We have the billboard active, and then also actually tomorrow we have a career fair scheduled that we're partnering with the jail on. So we are trying to attack that from all angles, in person and different forms of media. Another thing I wanted to highlight was our workers' compensation claims. There was an increase in the annual comparison, fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 22. There was a 7% increase in a cost of claims. But you'll note in my figures there, the actual quantity of claims decreased. So I was able to isolate really the cause for the cost increase. It really boiled down to 4 unique claims. These 4 claims were each over $10,000 individually in cost. And so that accounted together for 39% of our claims costs for the year. So of the 76 claims for the year, these 4 were really the biggest claims, and the reason for that 7% increase that we saw year to year, even though countywide, the quantity of injuries and claims decreased. So I wanted to isolate that. The 4 claims are different injuries in different departments. So there's not a trend we're seeing that could be targeted, say, with, a specific type of training or anything like that. So that is something that we've reviewed in our monitoring to ensure that there isn't some sort of trend that we need to target to decrease the cost of claims. The other highlight I wanted to make in my annual comparison is unemployment. This is a positive I definitely wanted to highlight. So fiscal year 21 to fiscal year 22, we actually saw our charges received go down by 39% year to year. And so, we also have an increase in the total liability that we've avoided as well, a significant increase in that liability avoided. And just to provide some context, sometimes I'll throw these titles out there and I forget, because I'm in it every day, and so I forget. You might need some more context on what that really means. And so when we're reporting total liability avoided, that number is really reflecting how much in charges McLennan County has avoided based on how well we're providing separation documentation and how well we're providing information when we're participating in unemployment hearings. So the better we do there, the more liability we're avoiding. And so that number, FY21 to FY22, it's greater, it's better, and the charges we're receiving have decreased by 39%. And that, I also want to highlight work Elodia Vega is doing. She's our primary for employer relations, and now Holly Berger, she's been cross-trained as well, and so she's working on employer relations. So that's the team that's really helping drive these numbers down, and that open partnership with our supervisors and helping them on the front end when there start to be employee issues. They're working hand in hand with us on that, and so was happy to report that and see those figures when doing my annual review. And can answer any questions now that the court may have.
Okay, I was looking at this graph.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the reference. Did you want to ask your question first?
Pardon me?
Did you want to ask your question first? Or can
No,
I-
go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I also, because the court did recently address that ongoing standing item related to COVID and updates, I thought it was a good opportunity to give a reflection there year to year on what COVID looked like for county employees. And so that information is also in there in detail, and what we can see actually is for the year FY22, it is actually, of the 3 fiscal years this pandemic has spanned into, it's actually one of our busiest activity-wise. Although the length of absences or duration of an absence an employee went through was a lot less, quarantines were less. Luckily, we had a lot less severe illness reported by employees, which is a great thing. The quantity of COVID cases reported to our office was actually greater in fiscal year 22, and then we've seen over the summer a drop. And so this recent quarter, we're actually back to more normal figures that we can expect pre-pandemic. So the majority of now relief cases are related to true family medical leave. And so it does seem so far numbers-wise that we're reverting back to what we expected before the pandemic.
But we did modify the required days out and all that, so that would cut down on the length of illness or how it affects us, right? Didn't the guidelines change?
Yes, so we tried to remain updated on the changing CDC guidelines and then push communications out to our department heads, elected officials, and supervisors, so they were also managing employees who communicated that to them according to those CDC guidelines. And so just this past quarter's activity, again, we're seeing some of the more regular activity we expect, where normally our leaves during the pandemic, only 50% of them were related to family medical leave, like regular non-pandemic related illnesses. And now it's back to 79–80% of our activity. What we did catch also is our highest peaks, both fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 22, occurred during the January, February months of each of those years. And so we were excited. We're hoping that the same people who came and participated in our flu shots, are also getting their other vaccinations, and hopefully we'll work with the health district to offer another. We've been offering COVID vaccines and through with the health district's assistance directly at the HR office, and we'll try to do that again here in the following months.
Okay. The only question I had was going back to the annual turnover rate, the graph there, that it shows just looking at the end of the graph, the more recent 2022, that the turnover rate in the jail is still, that is moving up, and you know, we initially made the adjustment in salary and those kind of things. That number actually went the other way temporarily, but now it's going back up. And so I don't know, is that being addressed?
Yes, sir. We're actually currently working with jail administration and the onboarding administration over at the sheriff's office, working to tackle that, because what we're seeing is the applications and new hires are coming, they're starting, but you can see in that same section where I have the turnover figures, you can see our new hires and separation figures as well. And so we have an increase of new hires of almost 18%, but our separations have also increased.
Separation could include them just choosing to leave.
Resigning, retirement, and termination. So it would include all types of employee exits. And so those are increased. And we're communicating with employees as they leave, trying to get that exit information, discern the reasons why. And the most common reason is work-life balance. It's accounting for 33.5%.
That's on the existing employees that have been here, so.
That's any employee leaving.
But if they just hired on and turned around and left, it wouldn't have been life balance. It would have been, they didn't like what they were doing.
The feedback that we're getting from employees as they're leaving is it was an environment that they weren't fully prepared for, and which it takes a very special and particular kind of person to be able to do those 12-hour shifts in such confined facilities. And they did not expect to work as much overtime as was asked of them. And so we're currently working with the jail administration and their background and onboarding folks at the sheriff's office, and we've outlined a document that actually very specifically gives the specific average of this is what you can expect to work hours-wise on a monthly basis, to work overtime, when overtime starts after an 86-hour work period for
Yeah.
after 14 days. That's when overtime starts. This is what your salary is, and better defining and outlining those expectations. It may reduce the amount of new hires, but we're hoping that means those that actually do accept those terms are more willing to stay on a longer basis.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Anna? If not, is there a motion to approve her report for recording purposes?
So, second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass.
Thank you.
We'll try to finish up these reports right quick before we break, but if anybody needs to leave before then, go right ahead. All right.
We had,
Pardon me?
I was just gonna
Go ahead.
read in G11, Judge.
Okay.
G11 is specialty court. We have two under here. G11A is mental health court services. Mary Allen will be doing that part. And then G11B is the specialty court programs, and Amy Lowry will be presenting on it.
Okay.
So Mary, do you want to start?
I can start. Good
All right,
morning.
Mary.
Okay, as you all have the mental health court services report in front of you, this is for August through October 22. And the numbers are consistent. They're following the trend, same as last year. You can see it's 50, 47, and 51. The total cases this year, FY22, 542 cases. Last year, FY21 was 548 cases. So it's about average. It's consistently what it was last year. On the mental health warrants issued, this year, FY22 or 290 issued out of 341, averaging 24 a month approximately. And then last year we had issued 261 out of 312. All the trends are averaging about the same as last year. On page 2 of the mental health services court costs collected is a bit higher this year. We collected $206,064 out of $333,486, 61.83 collection rate. And let's see what else. FY23 so far in October. Competency cases filed, 51. Mental health warrants issued, 23 out of 25 applications. And if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Mary? If not, is there a motion to approve the report for recording purposes?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. All right, Amy, morning.
Good morning. So, and Judge Hodges was multitasking, so he is also here.
Okay, good.
So my report is for actually all 3 of the specialty court programs, which is the mental health court, the veterans treatment court, and the mental health court, or DWI drug court, sorry. So you have the reports in front of you. So I'm not sure if everybody knows, but so we have a maximum capacity of 30 participants in each program. So you can see how we are soon going to be reaching capacity in each program. Usually in DWI drug court, we usually have a wait list. So probably within the year for mental health court and veterans treatment court, which are our new programs, we'll probably be having a wait list in those programs as well. So consistent increases for all 3 courts. We also now have grant funding for all 3 programs, which total just over 1.1 million. That helps to provide increased services for participants at no cost to the county, including a new case management position for mental health court, which was just approved today. So thank you very much. So not only does specialty court focus on an evidence-based cost-saving model to the county, but also the person-centered results and testimonials from the participants that you can see in the report, which is really my favorite part, because we change lives, we improve public safety, and we build strong families and communities. So
Absolutely.
just changing people's lives every day. And if we can change the trajectory of one person, and just, my favorite story is the starfish story of, the little boy walking on the beach, and all the starfish are washing up on the beach, and the man walks up and says, why are you throwing all those starfish back in the ocean? And he says, I saved that one. So, if we can save just one every day, that's what we can do. And I just encourage you to read the testimonials in the report, because that's what's going to touch your heart. That's what we do every day. All of our participants are very high risk, high need. We touch them and provide services for treatment every single day to every single one. So it's a lot of work. We do a lot of things with all of our staff works so hard. But we couldn't do it without the support of the commissioners in our county. So thank you for giving us the chance to save lives.
Well, you're welcome, and extend our thanks to the entire staff. And Judge Hodges, do you have anything to add?
Well, I'm over here out of the way, but just echo what Amy said. When we started looking at treatment courts years ago, I went to New Mexico and talked to the judges there who are doing it, and they all told me consistently, you can take anything away from me that I'm doing, but just don't take my treatment court away, because that's where we see people actually change. We see that the system really works, and so I love going to court. I love seeing what these people are doing to change their lives. And I just appreciate, like Amy said, all the support that the court has given us to get these programs going. Thank you, guys and ladies.
Thank you. All right, are there any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve that report for recording purposes?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Passed. Thank you.
You guys.
G12, Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. No one is in court or on Zoom, but the report is in your packet.
Yep, if there's any questions anyone have, please forward those on, but otherwise, is there a motion to approve that report for recording purposes?
Move to approve.
And I'll second. Any other discussion? No other discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right. All right, Dustin, is it time for a break?
Yes, sir.
All right, it is 10:42. Let's break for 5 minutes. Dustin?
Sorry, Judge, I just heard the very end of that. Are you ready?
Yes, we are.
All right, so we can go to item F, grants and grant proposals. Under F1, this is the ARPA discussion. I know Tom Ray has an update for court, and as he's getting set up, I will just quickly touch on F1A and F1B. These are both items that we deferred last time. As we're continuing to work on this issue with LTG, they were the one that had asked for funds to help with engineering costs. Judge has reached out to the Water Development Board, and Mike has reached out to a contact at the USDA. And so as we continue to gather information, we don't need to take action on either of these today. And actually, the format may change somewhat. So I think it'd be best if we could just pull F1A and F1B with no action.
All right, let's pull F1A and F1B with no action. We want to be sure that all the funding sources have the language that didn't put any barriers to anything we might have in our funding, and that they understand exactly what we're doing. So, and not just take it for granted they understand it, but actually communicate directly with them. So we kind of divide and conquer was our plan. Okay, Dustin.
All right, so under F1, this is the ARPA update, and Tom is going to go through and talk about water projects. And so I don't know if Willie or Tim, I see you back there. Will you be able to share his presentation? And if not, I can do so. Thank you. All right, Tom.
Very good. Thank you, Dustin. Wanted to bring you up to date. We've been focusing the last couple of 3 months with Mike's help and Dustin's help on the arsenic systems, the arsenic impacted systems, recognizing that the county, that the court dedicated 4.4 million, 44% of the $10 million in ARPA money to that problem. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but I wanted to focus more on today on the non-arsenic systems. And I think that next slide says that. And then the next slide after that shows a list of the 18. This list may not, and before I start, none of the numbers are in concrete at this point. We need to go back and verify some of those. Those that have made requests, we have gone back. Our intern at LAN helped us to go back and poll and get more information from the ones that had requested. For the most part, that's been done, but we need to, there's one or two in here that we need to verify further, and I'll point those out as we go along. But anyway, this is a list of the entities. I think it's fairly complete. There's 18 requests for 18 different entities, and you can kind of see what the projects, the requests were for in terms of the projects. And quite a few of those, and we'll talk about these in the table in just a minute. I did a little graph and sent it to Reagan kind of late, but I thought it'd be good to look at it in a graph. We'll look at that in just a minute. But there are a number of generators that's going to be a fairly large percentage outside of the arsenic percentage, which was 44%. That was followed by generators, and those are, remember, a requirement under SB1 after the February freeze of last year, that legislation. Then there were a number of, a variety of different needs throughout the county with different systems, wastewater connections, water connections. There was a request for a new well, those kind of things. So if we'll go to the next slide. And I apologize, this is this is actually supposed to be animated, so that big bar right there in the middle was supposed to pop in after I said a few comments, but I think you can still make out that what we've done here is looked at all of the requests, identified that the project can be completed by 2026. And, you know, with the supply chain issues, that is a big question, and it's something we need to be watching very carefully. Funds have to be committed by the end of 2024. I think we can get that done. But whether or not the equipment, et cetera, will be available and can be installed and the project complete by the end of 2026 is something that, under normal circumstances, that's plenty of time, but not now. We did, for the court's benefit, we did go back and verify the meters served within McLennan County. Some of these entities have areas, Byrom and others, that are outside McLennan County, so we were careful to make sure that we're dealing only with McLennan County located meters. Over there on the right, and again, I apologize for the bar taking up so much space, but that's a indication at this point, but it's a fairly educated indication of the dollar amounts that would be distributed, the ARPA dollar amounts that would be distributed by entity. Again, this is not final. We're not bringing this to the court for your approval at this point, but we did want to tell you that we think the approach that you approved is working, makes sense. Shows a distribution of ARPA dollars that are going to be of benefit to the county and importantly to the county ratepayer. These will help hold the cost or maybe even bring some costs down in terms of what the individual ratepayer has to take on. Let's see what the next slide then, I think, again, these are the can you go back one slide? Let me see what I did here. Okay. Maybe I just got that out of order. Go down, next slide. Yeah, okay.
There it is.
Yeah, that I should have had that slide first, and then you could see that. This shows the total project cost over on the right, not the distribution of ARPA dollars, but the total project. Point out that the city of Riesel, in terms of the emergency generators, they're not going to be 8 million or 8.5 million. Those, we don't have the accurate or better estimates of what those actual costs are going to be. Those are some of the things we have to fill in. We need to get more information on the city of Mart and Hilltop, and I'm confident that we'll get that and can bring that back and have a definitive recommendation for the court in terms of distribution on these ARPA dollars. Now, I would point out that the city of West came in and made a request to assist them with ARPA dollars on, they are building a new wastewater treatment plant. And so we may want to focus on that. I want to work more with Dustin and the judge on West and what they have requested. A new wastewater treatment plant is, it was something over 25 million, I believe. So we asked that they break that into components and prioritize those components so we could get a better handle. They came back with a top priority of an intake structure, And that intake structure was something around 2 million, I believe. And so we'll look at that one, see how it fits in. Next slide. All right, this is review, actually. This court has seen these numbers, seen these projects and the entities. Next slide shows the distribution of ARPA dollars to the arsenic systems, arsenic impacted systems. And, you know, working with Dustin and Mike on the recipient agreements, the beneficiary agreements, those have been, would carry these dollar amounts. And I think the next step is to get those out to the, actually start making awards. So, next slide. And this shows the total cost of the anticipated, or the projects that are being planned at this point. I would also recognize or say that there could be projects out there that are being talked about now that might provide an alternative that could be less to significantly less than the arsenic abatement projects that you're seeing here. We will hopefully know more about that in the early part, I'd say first quarter next year. We'll see if we can tie down a different approach to this, working with the Brazos River Authority and others and looking at that. I would point out that the BRA has been very helpful in terms of recognizing the situation with these systems and is doing what they can to help. Next slide. All right, the distribution of funds. This is kind of like the next steps. And the next slide, we deal with the non-arsenic system. Got some work to do on the funding amounts. These are very preliminary that we brought you, but they're based on the prioritization approach that we discussed in previous meetings. We need to do some additional verification. There are a lot of issues or a lot of pieces, I guess, to these requests that we want to look at and verify that these ARPA funds are being used appropriately and that we have a good understanding of how they're being used. And certainly want to make sure that they're used in accordance with Treasury Department regulations. One thing that we may want to do, and I want to discuss this further with Dustin and the judge, is host a meeting, kind of like we did with the arsenic impacted systems. Host and it could be, you know, a Teams meeting, could be on the phone, conference call type thing. But to have a meeting where they could ask questions, we could provide more information, we could talk about any issues that we see and that kind of thing. So
You're talking about the non-arsenic?
Non-arsenic, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't,
Yeah, I
what
think
I'm
we
saying
need-
is, like we did with the arsenic impacted systems,
Right.
consider having the same sort of thing with the non-arsenic. That's a larger group, so it may have to have some electronic computer communication, yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully we LAN and is working on verifying these numbers so that we can bring you more reliable recommendation in terms of how the distribution to individual entities should be. And on the arsenic impacted systems, we have already discussed and went through the process, the prioritization process, the use of that 4.4 million. The distribution is ready. Those dollars, dollar amounts are known. We're ready to work on the recipient. Those aren't green amendments, those are our amendments, agreements, recipient agreements, and get those completed and out. And then we need, once those go out, these projects are underway. So the monitoring engineering agreement would be something we need to put into place. I think that's all that, did we make copies of this by any chance?
I don't recall seeing it unless it was in the packet. I don't recall seeing it.
We don't have it.
Do you see a graph like this by any chance?
Not in this packet.
All right. I thought late in the day that it'd be good to show this graphically to you. I took the distribution. We actually have a spreadsheet where we distribute according to the prioritization approach we discussed. By the type of projects, we held back 4.4 million, okay, to 44% of the 10 million went to the arsenic impacted system. So that was a given. And then the rest, the 5.6 million, was prioritized based on the number of requests for that project type. And it came up, and it actually, I think, produces a well-balanced, defensible approach to putting these funds out. Not only defensible to the Treasury Department, but I think also to the citizens of McLennan County. But our graphic, and I'll get this, is there a way to send this later, or? Oh, okay.
Yes, I mean, I can, if you send it to me, I can send out to the board members if that's what you're.
That's what I'm asking, yes. I'd like them to see, this is not totally complete, and I'll update it. Again, I'm verifying numbers and going through that. I want to make sure all the numbers are absolutely right. But this is a very good indication of how the distribution of the remaining, the 5.6 million in ARPA dollars would be distributed based on the projects requested. And I think.
And Tom, could I ask you just a couple of questions? One, and this seems pretty obvious, even though they're allocated that amount, if they come in with a number that's less than that amount, we're not allocating to them the full amount then.
Oh, no. You know,
and that's important because we do have administrative costs tied up in this. And that way we could use any overages for administrative costs.
Good point.
The second thing is that as far as distributing the arsenic money, we believe that it's not going to be a subrecipient agreement, which is great. We believe it's going to be a beneficiary agreement, which cuts down on our requirement to review financials and different things like that. But we're waiting on Forbes for that information. And then, we do. I think we've already approved the monitoring engineer agreement. I think what we had on the agenda is an addendum to change the monitoring engineer agreement to have that same thing about unless they're using it or to get the additional funding, they can't draw before they have the additional funding in place. Well, that's not an issue anymore. So I think the agreement we all already have in place. Dustin, didn't we approve
We
monitoring
did.
engineer?
We did. So we approved that for the monitoring engineering services with LAN back on November the 1st. And so you're right, that addendum was just adding that other language. So that approval still stands.
So we have a monitoring engineer agreement, which we do need to make sure the projects are being handled and are tracking to be done by December 31, 2026. It also, all draw requests have to go through the monitoring engineer. So we pick up anything that just doesn't smell right.
Yeah, that's great, Mike. And one of the things we're working on, if that agreement's in place, we're working on a monitoring report that would be provided to each of the arsenic impacted systems where their engineer, their PE, their project manager would certify. And that means in the engineering world, they'd put a stamp on it that the information provided is accurate, so we can keep the county and keep the court informed of expenditures and disbursements and progress, et cetera.
All right. Okay, and I would, I've had to make myself more patient with this process than I expected to, but I can see right now that a lot of the solutions are changing. It won't affect how much money we put out, but it'd be the timing of it, where it could, you know, the original concept was City of Waco would provide all the water to those areas to be able to dilute, to get the right percentage arsenic in there, or levels. But it could be, as they thought about it and looked at it, as all the group are looking at it, including BRA, that there might be other solutions that are better, that include MART and some other things that, and so until all those things get nailed down, it's gonna be hard for us to make the final improvement. In the meantime, we'll gather up all the information to be able to move forward on that.
I will give you some good news, Judge. BASF has signed an agreement to let Riesel drill alluvium wells on their property.
That's great.
Alluvium water.
So that's a solution that is different from what we started. So that's great, and so that's moving forward. That's going to move faster than probably these other projects.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Tom, anything else?
That's all I've got, unless there's questions, Judge.
Any other questions? Anyone?
Couple real quick. On the non-arsenic project descriptions, Tom, the 18 listed here, all of these met the deadline for application, is that correct?
West came in after the deadline because they didn't realize they didn't get all their information until they made the request. So that is one that's later.
And then secondly, of these 18 entities, how many of them are also arsenic mitigation entities of these numbers right here?
I don't have the number off the top of my head, certainly, but,
Go
you
through
know,
the 18.
several.
So several of them are asking for,
them.
several of them are asking for arsenic mitigation and
generators.
and additional walls.
That's correct. That's correct. Now, if we look at, I think City of Riesel actually asked for generators as well. And one other group did, and I'm not, had some SCADA request in theirs, in addition to the arsenic. I think it's part of AOL's request. But there's some, yes, there is some of that. I can break all those out, but
I was just curious, how many, I was curious how many of them qualified for the arsenic part and are asking for additional
Yeah,
help.
there are some of those.
Yeah, I would like, when you get a chance, that's fine.
I tell you what, when we send you the graph and the little table, I'll try to identify those.
Okay.
I've got the information. I'll make sure
Thank you.
send it to you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Do we need any action on this, Dustin? Or just-
No, sir. It was, I mean, we can record it for recording purposes if you'd like to.
All right, is there a motion to approve this report for recording purposes?
So moved. Second.
All right, that motion second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, pass. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners.
Appreciate it. See you, Tom.
Okay, Dustin.
All right, so Judge, that should just leave D1 as our action item, and we need to go into executive session under 551.0. Discuss that first.
All right, so at this time, let's go into executive session under 551.074 of the code, government code on, to talk about personnel matters.
Judges, or who do you want to stay in executive session?
Let's see, Anna and Dustin. I believe that's it, right?
Yes, sir.
For right now, yeah, Anna and Dustin, yeah. All right.
Now it's the time.
Recording in progress.
Okay, it is 11:20. Let's go back into regular session. All right, Dustin.
All right, we'll go back to item D1, information technology. This is discussion and/or action regarding replacement of director, including but not limited to the replacement process, review action on resumes, applications, job description changes, updates, and related matters.
Okay, Anna?
So we had an offer, a very conditional offer presented to applicant John Carter. And he has accepted the conditional offer. The offer was conditional upon, of course, Commissioner's Court approval. The offer included the starting salary of $135,000 annually, relocation reimbursement up to $5,000 because this is an out-of-state applicant. And we have an expected start date of January 3rd of this coming year, 2023. And Dustin, did you want me to go ahead and touch on the what that would mean for PTO accrual?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so because we're wanting a start date of January 3rd, and we have Miss Lisa scheduled to retire at the end of December, there would be an overlap there based on her current balance of PTO, of paid time off. She is maxed out currently at 240 hours. That would cause a budget overlap of 6 weeks of time. But I believe there's a budget room there for that overlap. And so this would also include a request, not just to hire John Carter into the IT director, it would also include a request to fill the position prior to the exhaustion of PTO that's currently on the books for our retiring IT director.
Okay, all right, and how many applicants did you have?
We had a total of, I believe, 9 qualified applicants. And I do want to take the opportunity to thank our group of internal employees and stakeholders that helped us review those qualified applications. And so that would include Francis, our county auditor, John Gimble, our district clerk, David Ives, jailer lieutenant under the sheriff's office in jail. And Dustin also helped us review applications, and then our external IT advisors as well helped us screen those applicants. And so that would include Emmanuel Palacios from TSTC and Mike Seatwright, the Chief Information Officer for the City of Waco.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any questions for Anna or anyone regarding this, historic process we're going through right now? If not, is there a motion?
Judge, I'd make a motion to appoint John Carter as our new IT director effective January 3rd of 2023 with a starting salary of $135,000 a year plus a $5,000 relocation stipend, maximum $5,000 relocation stipend, and that we also fill the position prior to exhaustion of the current IT director's time. As our HR director says, there's more than ample money in the budget to cover both positions.
Okay.
Second?
Have a motion, second, any other discussion? No other discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. I would like, once again, to say how much we appreciate Lisa's contribution to what we've been able to do in IT for the last many years. And we wish her the best in her retirement, and
Absolutely.
thank her so much.
And I would bet that John Carter's watching, so congratulations.
Yes, if he is watching, congratulations.
Hi, John.
Yeah. All right. If nothing else come before the court, we stand adjourned.